The collapse of Kamala Harris, questions about efficacy and influence. Vice President Kamala Harris has recently come under scrutiny from journalists and pundits who question her effectiveness and diminishing influence within the Biden administration. Several factors have contributed to this negative coverage, including her speaking ability, perceived incompetence in media interviews, lack of a defined role in the administration, and overall ineptitude in fulfilling her duties. Are the liberals turning against Kamala Harris? In a surprising turn of events, a New York Times article published in February appeared more like a Fox News-style hit piece rather than a liberal publication's perspective. Critics argue that the left-leaning media is now also joining in the criticism of Harris. Claims of a diversity hire. One particularly controversial claim made by Dave Seminara, a contributor to the right-leaning Manhattan Institute's City Journal, suggests that Harris was a diversity hire brought on by Biden and the Democratic Party's adherence to identity politics. This assertion has added fuel to the fire of criticism against Harris. New York Times readers' reaction. Seminara delved into the comments section of the New York Times article to analyze readers' opinions about Harris. The results were troublesome for the vice president. The highest-rated comment suggested that Harris was not up to the job and was chosen merely to fulfill a diversity quota. It highlighted the dangers of selecting candidates based on identity rather than competence, as one reader pointed out. Harris's qualifications and experience. It is important to address the racial and sexist undertones of these comments and recognize that Harris possesses the necessary qualifications and experience to serve as vice president. Her background includes serving as San Francisco District Attorney, Attorney General of California, U.S. Senator, and even running for president. This demonstrates her competence and proficiency in elected positions, dismissing claims that she was merely a diversity hire. Paying her dues. Harris earned her place as vice president by paying her dues in the challenging and competitive political landscape of California. Her accomplishments in a large and influential state should not be undermined by accusations of tokenism. A historic pick. Harris's selection as Biden's running mate was historic, as she became the first woman of Indian American and Jamaican American descent to hold the position of vice president. While her racial and ethnic background is an integral part of her identity, it should not overshadow her competence and other qualities. Challenges faced by Harris in office. Although Harris's tenure as vice president has been challenging, it is unfair to solely attribute her selection to her race and gender. Criticism should focus on her actions and performance rather than reducing her achievements to tokenism. Low levels of support in opinion polls. To evaluate public sentiment, it is important to consider scientific opinion polls rather than rely solely on reader comments. Unfortunately, Harris has received low approval ratings in several surveys. Her approvals often range from the high 30s to low 40s, which is below average compared to past vice presidents. Some polls have even shown approval ratings as low as 35%, with a significant percentage viewing her unfavorably. The need for better communication. One area in which Harris needs improvement is her communication skills. Critics argue that she often delivers wordy, confusing, and tedious speeches, deviating from prepared texts and talking points. This tendency to engage in what some describe as word salads can lead to misunderstandings and further criticism. Racism and sexism in criticism. Supporters of Kamala Harris argue that she is unfairly targeted due to racism and sexism. It is crucial to condemn such attacks and instead focus on evaluating her performance based on merit alone, without allowing race and gender to overshadow the conversation, whether criticisms originate from the right or the left. As Vice President Harris navigates the challenges ahead, it is imperative that she focuses on improving her performance and addressing the concerns raised about her efficacy. It is essential for Harris to refine her communication skills, ensuring clarity and coherence in her speeches and public appearances. By doing so, she can effectively convey her message and avoid the perception of being unclear or confusing. Moreover, Harris needs to take steps to address the criticisms surrounding her role within the Biden administration. Clarifying her responsibilities and demonstrating her value and impact in specific areas will help dispel doubts about her influence and competence. By taking on substantial projects and initiatives, she can establish a clear and prominent role within the administration, solidifying her position and dispelling notions of ineptitude. Furthermore, Harris should actively engage with the public and media, taking the opportunity to address concerns and explain her policy positions. This open dialogue can help build trust and understanding, fostering a stronger connection between Harris and the American people. By demonstrating transparency and accessibility, she can effectively communicate her vision and goals, garnering support and dispelling doubts. In addition to improving communication and clarifying her role, Harris should prioritize actively listening to and addressing the concerns of the American people. This means actively engaging with different communities, understanding their needs, and working towards solutions that benefit all citizens. By demonstrating empathy and responsiveness, she can build bridges and regain confidence among those who may have doubts about her effectiveness. Ultimately, the path forward for Kamala Harris involves a multifaceted approach. She must work towards improving her communication skills, clarifying her role, engaging with the public, and actively addressing the concerns raised by critics. By focusing on these areas, Harris can regain momentum, reestablish her influence, and demonstrate her value as the Vice President of the United States. In conclusion, Kamala Harris faces significant scrutiny and criticism regarding her performance and influence as Vice President. However, it is essential to evaluate her based on merit and hold constructive discussions that go beyond race and gender. By addressing the concerns raised, improving her communication skills, and clarifying her role, Harris has the opportunity to overcome these challenges and make a positive impact within the Biden administration.